You're now watching This AFC South Show, brought to you by Curtis Podcast Network, hosted by Curtis Brown, Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michelli, and Jeff Steckel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This AFC South Show number 63. I'm your host, Curtis Brown. This is Curtis's Podcast Network, and with me, as always, is Blake Bellamy. I'm joined as well by Isaiah Michelli and Jeff Steckel, or Steckel, not Steckler. That's not right. I don't know why I put an at the end of your name, but I feel like I feel like it should be. Anyway,
yeah, just change your name.
We're gonna do what?
Might as well.
Steckler. Definitely not even the last two letters of his last name. Anyway, so we're gonna be recapping the AFC South Week 5 games, and as you could tell, we each are one fan. So we got a Jags, Titans, Colts, and a Texans guy, of course. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Jeff, lead us off with the Colts-Broncos game that happened this Thursday.
They won. Thursday. They got the win. I'm obviously happy about that. It was a mess. It was a really, really tough game to get through. I mean, we did half the show with it, and it was painful. I know I talked about a little bit about the play calling from Wright, and that's, to me, where it really needs to change. I mean, the line's been a disaster for 5 games now. He knew that going into it, and he really hasn't done anything to adjust. In fact, there was and I thought it was just a meme, but it was actually true. Someone went into Wikipedia and talked about Matt Pryor. He's one of the tackles on the Colts offensive line. And it says he is an American football traffic cone for the Indianapolis Colts. one of the worst tackles in the NFL. Someone actually went in and did this. I'm not sure if it's still on there, but it was. I cried laughing about it for a long time just because of how true it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, they know that their line is bad, and he needs to start doing something to adjust. He's got to start calling quicker routes or something. I mean, I was looking up. They've got, Michael Pittman. They've got Pierce and Paris Campbell. And Pittman is a great route runner. I believe he's a true number 1. And I think Pierce or Campbell could be great number 2 receivers. And their speed, I guess in perspective, Pittman, I think, ran a 4.52. And Pierce ran a 4.41. In perspective, Hilton ran a 4.34. So he's got a lot of speed. I'm almost wondering if they shouldn't put Campbell on the outside with Pierce and kind of use Pittman more in the slot. I don't know. But either way, they got the win. It was ugly, but they've got to start doing something to be able to get Matt Ryan, to get the ball out fast. They're going to have to do something going forward.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but do you know another freaky Alec Pierce stat? Mm-hmm. He had a 41.5-inch vertical at the combine.
Yeah.
Make it
He was an athletic freak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's actually looking really good. I was shocked. I'm never a fan of drafting white wide receivers, but he's looking pretty good.
I wanted him so bad in Jacksonville.
I wonder what exactly they can even do to help Matt Ryan not get sacked 6 times.
I wish I had an answer. It seemed like, I think they've got a rookie. They slid in a, like, I think left tackle Rainman or something, I think is his name.
Bernard Raymond.
Yeah, Rainman.
Yeah. And he had a few holding calls that were kind of drive killing. It seemed like the Colts were getting a little momentum going, and then just holding would kill him. But I think in the second half he got a lot better. So I'm optimistic that at least the left side of the line is going to be better. But that right side of the line is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Ryan.
What happened to Braden Smith? Like, did he get the yips or something?
It looks like
that lost to Jacksonville last year, and this year just really like get in his head. Like,
just forgot how to play. I don't know.
He might have been joining Tannehill on the therapist couch.
But if they got to start dialing up some faster routes or something just to get Matt Ryan comfortable. because they're not giving him any time.
Probably do some more dump offs out of the backfield.
Yeah. That's what they were talking about doing
play
with
action
Hines.
screens. Yeah.
That never developed into anything either.
All right.
But they got the win.
They did. Stefan Gilmore, as you mentioned before we started taping, had an amazing game. The final play, Russell Wilson's looking, he's scanning the end zone, trying his best not to find Malcolm Butler, and ends up getting swatted by Stefan Gilmore. He's thrown to his best guy in Cortland Sutton, but
He was not.
Stefan Gilmore,
He was not throwing to Cortland Sutton. If you watch the film, which I thought that too, he did see KJ Hamler. He saw him way too late. When he starts to throw the ball, he straight up locks eyes with KJ Hamler and throws it. And Cortland Sutton drugged Stefan Gilmore right across in front of it. If you watch the film, he saw Hamler super. So if you watch it, he's looking at Sutton and he snaps his head right here, looking directly eye contact with Hamler, throws the ball, and Sutton ran in front of it and dragged Stefan Gilmore in front of him. If he would have just stopped or gone back the other way, it'd have been a touchdown and they'd have won the game. I thought the same thing. I was watching the Pat McAfee show and they replayed it, and you can see him lock eyes with Hamler. He was just way too late.
damn, shouts Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
Pat McAfee, him and AJ Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And a positive, man. The Colts kicker was perfect.
Yeah, he was. McLaughlin is, and I never really thought Rodrigo Blankenship was going to be bad or anything, but like, I mean, the kickoffs was really kind of what I think really did it more than anything.
Definitely.
But even still, I mean, I don't know about McLaughlin. He's too good.
Yeah, Gilmore
Can play for-
for that game is. It was a really sloppy game, but he was probably one of the big highlights of it. He's at least my MVP for the game.
Who did anybody get any good pressure on Russell Wilson? Any big defensive stars outside of Gilmore?
I think that their line isn't very good either. I think that he was under duress a good part of the game too, but just his play really stood out to me. I think he got an interception there too.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I remember doing the stats. So,
Yannick Ngakoue had a big time sack in that game too.
Yeah.
He was basically just like standing out there, like biding his time, and then whenever the pocket opened up and Russell Wilson started to run, he just like walked over and tackled him. But it was
Basically
20 yards of open field if Yannick Ngakoue isn't there.
So, are the Broncos any good? Is
No.
Russell Wilson losing it?
Everybody
What the hell's
hates him.
going on here?
Yeah, he's not very good at football.
Yeah, people they're not riding with the Broncos right now.
Yeah.
As the slogan
Yeah,
says.
he doesn't have 6'10", 700-pound DK Metcalf out there, and he doesn't have a running back, so not really much he can do.
Yeah, now they're trying to say he had a torn labrum or something like that since the Raiders game. I'm like, but what happened?
Yeah.
What happened with weeks 1 through 3?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Javonte Williams is a good running back, and he still wasn't able to do anything with him. And like Jerry Jeudy isn't bad. Like, I don't know. Russell. I feel like something's not clicking. He seems old. He's holding on the ball too long, which is similar to I think Matt Ryan's doing. And also, I think Tannehill's doing the same thing. I feel like once quarterbacks start getting up there, they're just getting slower, and I think it's hitting Russell Wilson pretty bad. He just doesn't seem like he did have KJ Hamler open, and that wasn't the only one. He's had several throughout. Like, he's in primetime every week. There's been many times I'm sitting on my couch, be like, dude, yeah, it's wide open. How can you not see this? But you're a professional athlete, man. Throw it.
He had a couple too where he was throwing 10 or 15 yards away from his target, like to the corner, different stuff, and my thing is is it miscommunication, or is he's just thinking it's the wrong play, making wrong reads? I mean, I know he brought all his hand signals over, from the Seahawks, and they're over there playing, and his boy Lockett's over there. If he does this, he's running the go. If he does this, he's running the go. Like, you can't do that, man. He thinks he can do the same thing he did in Seattle, and he just doesn't have the supporting cast. He doesn't have guys,
I don't think he's.
Do you think it's mostly Russell, or do you think it's
it's Russell.
Hackett?
No, it's Russell. I think Hackett's not a great
made some
coach.
questionable decision making.
But I think if Russell Wilson was half of what he was in Seattle, then Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have to be a perfect coach. The problem is he has to be perfect with the way Russell Wilson's playing, versus if he was half to 75% of the quarterback he was in Seattle, he wouldn't have had to worry about it. He could have just let Russ, cook, as they say. And all he's been doing is getting cooked all season. So I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I actually heard this interesting stat. The entire NFL's yards per attempt is at its lowest point since 2006.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's we've only had like 400-yard passing games this season by a quarterback. Josh Allen, I think, has done it once or twice now.
Yeah.
And then Tua and
Like Flacco
Someone
or someone
else?
random.
Yeah, I think Flacco did throw for like
Probably.
what, like 410 or 413 in that one
Yeah,
game. I think.
Flacco lit
Or
it up
Goff.
one game.
yeah. Or it's either him or
I
Goff.
don't remember the stat line of it, but wasn't there like Goff and
Yeah.
what's his name, Gino? Like they had that big game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no defense, just
Yeah.
fucking balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 7-on-7 shit.
Seriously. Literally negative defense.
He threw 307 and 4 TDs in that game. Joe Flacco did, and then he had 309 the next week versus Baltimore, or the first week versus Baltimore.
Look at man Joe go. Hey, Jeff, that could be your quarterback.
That's what I'm
next year.
saying.
Leave it
He's
alone,
still
man.
too young for him.
Look, if we put it out there,
Oh,
it might happen. Because we don't know what the next regime's going to be. What if,
can get-
it's a...
I hope Todd
That's
Downing
affiliated.
becomes the next head coach.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can have post-divorce
Shite.
Tom Brady. That'll be great.
it's just gonna be ripping cigarettes on the sideline.
Ripping cigs and doing construction, as Blake Bortles said. You know.
It looks like Tom Brady's soul is being sucked out of his body. Has anyone else noticed?
The
this?
question,
He
though-
looks ultra skinny
Well, yeah, his
now.
kids aren't around. He can't kiss them to steal their youth. You know.
Yeah, he needs more avocado ice cream or something because he's all
So-
mad.
Jesus.
Does Brady file for alimony since Giselle makes way more money than him? Like, I
I was
would
him, I would.
100%. You kidding me?
I'm like, I'm entitled to live like I was living under that buku amount of money that she had, that we had. I only make pocket change compared to her. And she's been retired for 10
Yeah.
years. Oh, she makes so much money. Oh, God. Who wins that?
She's gonna win
The kids
regardless.
lose. That's all that
He's still winning.
Especially if they stay in
Um,
Florida. Florida's a woman's state for sure. They're just like, oh, here's everything. Like,
They own like 7 houses together
Don't see
all
this.
around North and South America, though. It's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of crazy. They have so
You-
many assets. That's
you,
gonna be the
you
most.
take 4, I get 3, and we'll just, like,
I want to be their divorce lawyer because
Yeah,
I
I
can
know,
get
right?
a killing.
you guys give me
Yeah.
a house, and that'll cover my fees. Like,
Yeah, I'll take
Wait, the
one of
3-3
those
split.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Titans and the Commanders. Blake, I had a little bit of fun watching this game just because anytime Carson Wentz can just chuck it deep for a 60-plus yard touchdown, I find it humorous. And not only did he do that, but he did that. He threw touchdowns deep to the same guy, and cooking Farley in the process on one of them. And one of them was a one-handed catch. This guy's never caught a touchdown in his NFL career. Will you understand his Madden rating is going to go up because of this?
Yeah, he got 2 today or 2 yesterday.
Yeah, Daimi Brown shouts.
Yeah, I remember him coming out of the draft, but honestly, I don't even remember him anymore. I think where did he come from? Does anyone know?
I don't remember.
I feel like he
Couldn't
might
tell
be
you.
an Ohio State guy, but I don't remember him. This game was bad, man. I know we won. I'm happy with the W, but we might be first in division, but we still suck. Like, it's not we're nothing special. Where should I start? I'll start with the offense. Downing again. He's still got to go. He's terrible, man. He calls football games like it's like 1976, and it's just bad. Like, no one has told him the forward pass has been invented. Wide receivers and get this, tight ends can run routes. He doesn't believe that. And it's crazy because he used to be a tight end coach, but none of his tight ends run routes. Isn't that wild? He has Chigo Okonkwo and Austin Hooper, who's a Pro Bowl tight end. They never run routes. They just block sometimes to make up for this porous offensive line that they're throwing together on Sundays, which results in Tannehill getting sacked and running for his little life. It's bad, man. They need to invest a lot of capital in this offensive line, which is hard to justify because they invest a lot of capital every year. in that offensive line, and it sucks every year because they get Isaiah Wilson. They let go of Jack Conklin. They let go of Dennis Kelly. They drafted Nicholas Petit-Frere, which is still good. Him and Nate Davis can stay, but everyone else can go. It's bad. Derrick Henry, he's looking a lot better. When he's hitting the hole, it's a lot of bursts. It's like, wow, Derrick Henry looks fast. Like, not only does he look back to normal, he might be faster, which is scary. He didn't average very well. I think he had like a 3.6 average rushing the ball, but he did well in the passing game, which is commendable for him because he can't catch. He has hands for bricks. And it's been nice seeing him run again. I wish Dontrell Hilliard would do something. However, Todd Downing is not creative enough to get Dontrell Hilliard involved in this football game.
Yeah.
And then there's no wide receivers. Nothing.
I mean, it's Robert Woods and then everybody else.
Yeah, I was very happy because it was a very boring game. And then Tannehill just threw a great pass. Well, I'm sorry. He threw a pass. Not great. He threw a pass to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and he made an incredible adjustment and made the catch. And I think that went for like 50 yards. And that was incredible. And whenever that happened, I cheered. I said, good job for doing your job. Like, it was about time he finally did something correct. Tannehill's been looking bad. He's been holding on to this football for God way too long. And that's just it for the offense. The offense has been embarrassing. Defense, the front four looks great. I have no issues with them. Autry's amazing. Tier Tart's playing at a Pro Bowl season. Jeffrey Simmons, man. That guy's a monster. David Long's incredible. I actually take it back. I said earlier before the podcast started going, I was going to go with Derrick Henry as my MVP. Thinking back, it's David Long Jr. He had 11 tackles. He prevented a couple touchdowns, and he hit a game-saving interception. So I do have to go with him over Derrick Henry's 2 touchdowns. Caleb Farley, though, is god-awful. He needs to go. Trade him for a 6th-round pick. I'd be happy with that. He gets burned on every single play. I have yet to see a Caleb Farley highlight. He's a 1st-round pick in his 2nd year. Anytime anyone justifies his skill set, or like he just needs more of a chance, I tell that person, show me a single highlight of his. Just one. I have yet to see anything in training camp, preseason, or regular season. He's terrible. He's got to go right now. He let up a huge touchdown where he got completely cooked on that Curtis was talking about, and he didn't see the field after that. He's basically crying on the sideline. Vrabel looked very pissed. Every time Caleb Farley screws up, his emotions get to him. Anthony Midget, the defensive backs coach for the Titans, said that you have to play with confidence, and Caleb Farley doesn't really have that, which you never want to hear your D-backs coach because he knows you better than Vrabel does. And if Vrabel doesn't like you, Jesus, that's just bad. Caleb Farley's got to go. He's toxic, man. I can't talk about him more. My blood pressure's going to go up. But the Titans, yeah, we're 1st in the South. We're going to a bye week, which I'm not confident about. I'm happy where we're at because, you got to win the games that are in front of you, and it is a 3-game win streak, which is nice. But these have been 3 very ugly games.
All right, let me just get in real quick. Tier Tart leads the Titans in pass breakups,
Which is sad.
Daimi Brown is from North Carolina.
That's right.
Just looked that up. And Ryan Tannehill was sacked 5 times for a loss of 45 yards. That's why the tight ends are not running routes. I don't know so much sometimes if Todd Downing just gets a bad rap for the offensive line, and that like how bad the offensive line is playing could potentially be severely limiting the playbook. Because I imagine there are some 7-step drops that Ryan Tannehill would love to get on, but because there's no blindside protection, they're going to have to slide a tight end over there, and that takes a deep threat off the field. And now you've got Jeff Swayman there just trying to help somebody. Jeffrey Simmons did have a whale of a game. I will also say that the Commanders' defense is underrated.
They are. They're very good. I have them in fantasy.
Their front 7 is amazing. But I mean, there was a couple minutes there towards the end. I thought the Commanders had definitely a really strong shot to win, especially as you mentioned that game-saving interception by David Long. That was like a third or a fourth down play that they're at the 6 or 7 yard line or something, right? Pretty close.
Yeah.
And
Clutch.
I mean, Wentz almost pulled off a miracle, really. But as you said, they go into the bye week with Houston with a win, and hopefully they'll give them a little bit of time to heal up. I know there's definitely a lot of guys on that injured reserve. I know that the window's been activated for a couple guys, so I would hope that on the other side of this bye week, there's some more bodies the Titans can
We're
use.
really missing Amani Hooker, was incredible until he got a really nasty concussion. And then also Monty Rice. I'm sorry, not Monty Rice. He was activated. He was back for this one. But Elijah Molden, our slot corner, second-year man out of Washington. That guy was a monster for us last season. He was the reason why the defense had a lot of success, and he hasn't played at all. He wasn't in training camp. He wasn't preseason. And he hasn't been in the regular season yet. So whenever they get him back, I don't expect him to start out great by any means. I'm sure he'll be on a snap count, but Titans are really looking forward to having him back because it's been rough without him. Because the defensive backs been getting just cooked every single game.
Yeah. Jeff, Isaiah?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Wentz isn't even on the team anymore, and he still can't do the Colts any favors. So.
Yeah, he's 0-5 against the Titans. Isn't that crazy? 0-5 against the
Titans. He had an opportunity and threw that pick, man. I was like, he still can't do anything for the Colts.
I love it. Maybe he's a Titans fan. He's a closet Titans fan.
Might be.
They got Hilliard involved like a little bit, you know. He had the touchdown.
A
And
little bit.
They also tried to throw him a couple of screens, but it was kind of one of those things where like you got the first one off with the little like fake swing pass to the screen, and then like from then on, anytime he was on the field, they were either like diving him for some reason or they were throwing a screen to him. So like, oh, number 40's in. What are they doing? Oh, they're doing a screen. Like,
yeah, Hilliard will get the ball on 3rd and 14. It's like we all know Hilliard's getting the ball. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder what they're doing. Screen pass. Like,
that's what kills me about Downey. He's the most predictable. Like literally, I was sitting on my couch and like it'll be a run left here. It'll be Hilliard second for a screen, and then Tanner will probably get sacked. And then 3rd down, it'll be a run up the middle, and then punt. And then Stonehouse just gonna light it up.
Well, look,
Stonehouse is so great.
That's Tim Kelly's playbook too. So, like they're over there going like, fucking Tim Kelly's like screen, and Todd Downey's like, yeah, and then they call it. It doesn't work. So
yeah, I know you guys hate Tim Kelly, but like Todd Downing's so bad, I want Tim Kelly. If that tells you anything.
You say that, but you criticize all of the same calls that he would be making.
Tim Kelly,
like I'm telling you, Todd Downing and Tim Kelly are an echo chamber. Then like they're just in there every time one of them says something. They're like, "You're the smartest thing I've ever heard." Like,
hey, I just ran a screen. Me too. Like,
oh my God, we're the same. Yeah. So, Isaiah, you got any more comments? Anybody? Any more comments on the Titans game?
Fire Downing and then trade Harley.
Is it possible to like completely replace an O-line at one time? Because like I'm convinced.
I would love to see it.
I'm convinced you could go sign like any 4 guys out of free agency right now to fill in for the other 4 guys that are not the right tackle, and you probably field a better offensive line than what you've had out there. Like it's just it makes no sense. Shit, Leatherwood's in fucking free agency. Go give him a chance.
Thank you. Yes, bring Leatherwood in. I will take him.
He's not great, but like he's not worse than the guys you have now.
He's
like
better
might
than
as well
Radens.
Yeah, might as well bring him in and let him fucking play. Like you can put him at guard. Like who cares? Just put him on the field. Like it makes no sense. At least bring him on the practice squad and let him try and like work a couple reps in there. But that's why I'm sitting here and I'm not on the sidelines on Sundays. You know.
Hell, I mean, what is Mike Munchak doing? Can he still play? Like, literally,
he's actually no line
over,
coach somewhere.
Yeah.
Anything over.
Bring back Richie Incognito.
Bailey and Radens.
Yeah. Richie Incognito, fucking 30-day contract. You know, like.
Brewer's like 175 pounds playing left guard. He looks so tiny on that offensive line. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
All right, hold up. All right, so let's get to the Jags and the Texans game. Isaiah, I will let you lead hit on this one.
Run the ball.
Yeah.
So I in the break, I got a couple of stats here. So Travis Etienne, 10 carries, 71 yards, 7.1 yards per carry. Travis Etienne, 3 catches for 43 yards. That's 14.3 yards a catch for those of you who don't know the quick math. 8.76 yards per touch from Travis Etienne. T-Law had 7.3 per carry. Team average of 5.2. And it's 2nd and 1 with 10 minutes left in the third quarter on the 7-yard line. Houston's 7-yard line. And we throw a fucking pass. I'm sorry for my language, but we throw a pass. We're averaging literally a touchdown per carry out of Travis Etienne at that range. A touchdown per carry. And we throw a pass. Trevor Lawrence probably could have ran in the end zone there. We throw a pass. That I don't get it. This is we've won 2 games. Both games, Travis Etienne and James Robinson averaged over 30, or they touched the ball 30 plus times. And then against the Eagles in the rain, we run the ball 16 times between the two of them. Against the Texans, where we're averaging a touchdown per play on that play, with the Travis Etienne, he touches the ball 10 times. I mean, I don't get it. Why are we throwing the ball 47 times in a close game where we really need to manage the clock and try and at least kick a field goal or something? Why are we throwing the ball, dude? Like, I mean, and not to take anything away from the Texans. I mean, this is a very defensive game. The Texans had a great game. Not exactly offensively, but they did make some really big plays that, I feel like even Marvin Jones' press conference afterwards, like they slept on the Texans for sure, 100%. And, like I said last week and the week before, like, we're not a good team until we start winning division games. Like, we never beat the Texans. It's the team that everybody coming into this week had us beaten. Like, it makes no sense. I think the Texans have solid talent on their roster. Jacksonville has a better roster for sure. We're playing freaking Tampa too, and we're not throwing the ball over the middle. We're throwing the ball to the freaking corners and to the safeties. And, like, what are we doing? Why are we throwing 47 times against a Tampa 2 defense that couldn't stop us on the ground? It makes no sense. But, defense looked pretty good. They held them down. They let up some big plays. Trayvon Walker at the end was a huge killer after the Trevor Lawrence pick. I mean, the Trevor Lawrence pick was bad. Trayvon Walker and his unnecessary roughness. I mean, I think they blew the whistle way too late, and they let him play it, and then blew it like right before he got to him, right when he got to him. But here nor there, he still shouldn't have done that. He knew he was offsides in the neutral zone. He knew it. That sealed the game, I mean, there's potential we win, or at least take it to overtime if that doesn't happen, but Damien Pierce is going to Damien Pierce, and like I said last week, I think he might go down as a, greatest Texan of all time, another great Florida running back. He's good. He's hard to take down. There was a couple plays where he completely embarrassed us on defense, where we've been a solid run defense, and now the past 2 weeks, we've been getting just demolished on the ground. It was just a bad week. We couldn't throw the ball. Christian Kirk was basically non-existent. They did a great job of keeping him, contained. Desmond King, they had him basically shadowing him all night. Stingley played that one in the end zone really good. I mean, it was just an all-around bad game from Jacksonville, man. I'm tired of all these freaking Jaguars fans, though, talking about how Trevor Lawrence is a bust and Trevor Lawrence is terrible. And, like, sure, he didn't have a great game. I'm not going to sit here and defend him and say he had a great game and, oh, it's on everybody else. Like, he had a bad game. But he also shouldn't have thrown 47 times when we're averaging 5.2 yards per carry as a team. It makes no sense. And even in the post-game conference, they were grilling Doug Peterson, one reporter in specific, and he was like, so Travis Etienne was having a great game, almost 60 yards before the half. What happened in the second half? He's like, oh, that's on the play caller. That's me. I should have ran the ball more. And then he's like, well, and down there in the red zone, you have these guys, they're running the ball really well, He's like, again, just need to run the ball more. Like, he knows what's going on. That's why I'm not really worried going forward as much as I probably should be. Me being a delusional Jags fan, I've been doing this for years. I'm an expert at this point. But, when you're in games like this that are winnable games, whether it's ugly, beautiful, like I told a bunch of Jags fans during the game, I was like, I don't care how we win. We haven't beat them in 4 years. It's like, if it's an ugly win, if we win by 1 point, we win by 3 points, we win by 20 points, I don't care. We just need to win the game. and all of my fears will be put behind me. I'm no longer scared of the Texans. I'm at home. We just shut out the Colts a couple weeks ago at home. You know, missing receivers or not, but then we come back to the house and we get fucking whatever that was. I'm sorry. I'm really upset about this game, man.
Hey, that's all right. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I know, but 7-yard line, dude. Why are it 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1? Why are you? I'm sorry. That's it for me, honestly. We were running the ball really well. A couple shout outs there. Devin Lloyd, 11 tackles, 6 solos. He was there. I mean, I think they should have gave him an assist on the Aluakon sack, but they didn't. Whatever. 53 yards per punt from Logan Cook. Normally this is the Stonehouse show, but this week Logan Cook had a good week. So, I mean, you know, I never want to see great stats from Logan Cook, but typically he's the MVP of our team every year. But this year we were actually doing pretty good, and now all of a sudden I'm talking about Logan Cook again, you know, week 5. So we'll see how it goes, but we've got a lot to work on. I really hope we start running the ball more because we've got 2 very dynamic backs. You know, one who's a complete change of pace, and if he gets going, he gets going. And one, I mean, even with Robinson having 2.7 per carry, I mean, that's still a first down on 2nd and 1. Like, just run the ball.
Yeah.
That's it for me, dude.
Well, for me, this was in different ways both Davis Mills' lowest output in terms of performance, but probably his best game this year. He didn't make the big mistake. He was able to get the play when they needed it, and he was able to make key throws when the situation was there. That's not something we've been able to see the first 4 weeks. Now, maybe it's just something down there in Duval County that just makes the Texans play a little bit better. I don't know, but that was nice to see. It was nice to see him not really just overthrowing the hell out of everybody. There were a couple passes early on in the game. He had a couple drops by Brandon Cooks that would have been first downs. They were like, 3rd and 8s or something. They run an out play, and Brandon Cooks tries to one-hand one and doesn't get it, and the other one he just puts it a little too high out of his reach. But I mean, generally on target passes. But Damien Pierce was the focal point that we talked about for this game. If Damien Pierce got going, then the Texans had a shot. If he couldn't, then the Texans wouldn't have a chance in hell. And he got going, and on his way to a 26 carry, 99-yard performance, he made, I think the stat is called a forced missed tackle. And there were a PFF record 17 forced missed tackles by Damien Pierce alone in that game. The single greatest amount of forced missed tackles ever measured by PFF.
Were 12 of them on that one Damien Pierce run after the penalty?
Dude, I don't know, but that was a monster of
that. Not even gonna lie, not even being funny. That was at least 7 on that play alone. 100%, at least.
At least. He for those who don't know, 22-yard line, 2nd down and 5. Damien Pierce gets a handoff up the middle, and it looked like he ran through the entirety of the Jaguars defense on the way to a 20-yard run, where I thought he was still going to score, even until there were 3 or 4 Jaguars players around him. This man plays with such a low center of gravity and such a vicious run style. I think I've said it before. He's kind of like a poor man's slightly smaller Derrick Henry, and I'll take that. The Texans needed that. The only thing they need now is somebody who's not Rex Burkhead to be the 3rd down guy. Because I just don't know what the appeal of Rex Burkhead is at this point. It's not like he's going to get better. He's 31, 32 years old. Hell, Madden shits on him, gives him an 82 in speed. That's terrible.
I picked him up on one of my fantasy leagues because I was desperate. But he sat on my bench, don't worry.
Good call. Don't ever put him in your lineup. It will never benefit you, I promise you. Beyond that, something else we talked about in the preview show was that pressure was going to be a big part of this game. and Houston didn't get a single sack on Trevor Lawrence. And there was one sack the entire game, and you mentioned it earlier that Aloakun and Devin Lloyd should have split. That's a remarkable feat, considering I don't think the Texans' offensive line played super well, but Davis Mills was able to get the ball out of his hands and have a good, 16 to 24 afternoon.
They were getting it out quick when they were throwing.
Yeah.
And can I just say that, like, the fact that the Texans didn't get a sack isn't because they didn't have good pressure. Trevor Lawrence was just running for his freaking life out there, dude. There were so many plays where he was just like running. He probably ran 60 yards in the backfield that entire game. I mean, like that. He just running for his life, and then of course too, trying to throw the ball to make things happen. Like just run, but there should have been like seven sacks from the Texans, but luckily T-Law got out of there in time. But little good that did us.
Yeah. And then beyond that, I think Derek Stanley's first career interception. He if you go back, you watch that play that you mentioned at the 7-yard line, 2nd down and 1.
Baited the hell out of him.
Lawrence is not really aware of Stingley's presence at all in the end zone. He starts off kind of playing an underneath route, looks at Trevor Lawrence's eyes, finds the receiver he's targeting, and then just slowly drops back into the window. And it looked like he just threw the pass right to Derek Stingley.
He might as well run a charter boat after that. He baited him so hard, dude.
He did. That is what you want to see out of a first-round corner.
Yeah.
That's the development. That's the general, just player attitude that you need from them. Now, I will say that he had an all-time bonehead play there. As soon as he intercepts the pass, he's like, oh, there's no one but Trevor Lawrence in front of me. And then gets out of the end zone by like 1.5 yards, and Trevor Lawrence just
flips him.
And
hey, that's a good thing though. Trevor Lawrence, that was a good effort play by him to stop that. Like, most quarterbacks would have just been like, "Oh," but he went after him.
He did.
I was happy about that. Made me proud.
But I think that's about all I have for this. But glad to be in the win column for the first time this season. Blake, Jeff?
I think if the Texans were going to win, they had to keep it close. So I think they did everything they needed to in that game. And like you were saying, Damien Pierce, he was pretty fantastic in the game. That should have been the focal point of the Jaguars defense, and they just let him run shot over him. So I was kind of surprised that it was Etienne that had the bulk of the yardage, but yeah, like you said, it was going to come down to the running game, and the Texans just did it better.
Or at least more consistently.
More consistently, yeah.
Yeah.
Just more.
Yeah, just by volume.
Just ran the damn ball.
Yeah, they just actually ran the ball, Oh, my God.
Blake?
Yeah, and to reiterate what Isaiah was saying is Etienne should have gotten the ball way more. Like, I feel like he does this every week. Like, he gets the ball for like 7 or 8 times and just does amazing things with every one of those carries. It's like, all right, well, let's just keep feeding the beast. Let's see what happens. So I think they need to give him the ball much more. I am disappointed with Jacksonville. I had them winning this game. I hoped that they were going to win this game, really kind of assert their dominance in the South. And they let me down, which as a Titans fan, I'm happy about it. But as a football fan, I think you guys should have won that game and just proved yourself as, we are going to win the South. Couldn't do it. So now Tennessee, where we belong, going into a bye week.
Where we belong. Easy, your 4 division championships.
I'm happy the Texans won.
No, Houston's owned the division for a while. I mean, obviously Indy has the Super Bowl, but this has been Houston's division forever, I feel like.
I mean, basically since Bill O'Brien came in and left.
Yeah.
He was a good coach. He just wasn't a good GM.
Terrible GM.
Yeah.
Terrible GM. He didn't even want the job.
No, he said if he could do it over again, he would have never been the GM because he was a great coach, but he couldn't GM to save his life.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to our nominations for MVP for Week 5 in the AFC South. So my nomination is Damien Pierce. You guys just want to go back over and just kind of reiterate who yours is, and then we'll actually debate and figure out who we want to be this week's MVP.
I'm going with David Long. He has a game-saving touchdown. He had 11 stops. Dude was just a leader on the defense. With Zach Cunningham being out, he took the mic and the helmet and was just the man calling the plays. He literally did everything he was supposed to and a lot more. And of course, sealed it with the last play of the game. He had that pick that really should have been a touchdown and saved the Titans from losing. So it had to go him. It was close between Derrick Henry, who had 2 touchdowns and really looked great. But Derrick Henry, he did only average 3.6 yards a carry. He did do some good work on the receiving end, but David Long was more impactful, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Jeff? Stefan Gilmore, right?
Yeah, gonna go Stefan Gilmore. He had a pick in the game, and then the knockaway of Cortland Sutton at the end there to seal it for him. So I got to go Gilmore.
Okay. Isaiah?
I know before the show I said Cisco, but ETN for sure. Just looking back more at the game and rewatching a little bit of it, Travis Etienne had a really great game. He probably could have had a really, really great game if they would have continued to give him the ball.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to vote. You can't vote for your own team. And so how about all in favor of Stefan Gilmore? Raise your hand.
Crickets.
Very convincing. Okay.
Crickets.
All right. All in favor of David Long Jr. Nobody?
Crickets.
All right. All in favor of Travis Etienne.
All right. I think we do one.
All right. And all in favor of Damien Pierce. Okay. All right. So Damien Pierce is our week 5 MVP. And hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, guys, thanks for coming on. I think we're wrapping up here. Do you have any final comments?
Run the damn ball.
Trade
Yeah,
Farley.
Trade
We have, a
Farley?
we have a bye week. Just trade him, and we'll get a new guy in. I don't care what position. Besides,
That's what we did with CJ Henderson, and it worked out.
Yeah, literally trade anything. I don't care. I'll take anything. Just get Farley out the building.
Yeah, we hopefully got JT coming back next week. So yeah, run the damn ball.
Oh, yeah. The Jags and the Colts play each other next week.
Yep.
So
The
weird.
only AFC South game.
Dude, I'm so weird.
Good.
Oh,
Yeah.
and last final comment too is because of this Monday night game, I am basically dominating now in every one of my fantasy leagues. So 4-0 this week.
Nice.
I needed. There was 3 games that were up in the air, but every player I needed to do well is killing it. So
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
4-0.
dude.
My bet's not shaping up too well. I need Mac Hollins to score, and I need
He almost had a
did, and
touchdown. He almost had a touchdown.
Great
He dropped
play by
it.
Juan Thornhill.
Yeah, it was a great defense.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you all for coming on. Isaiah, Blake, Jeff. Thank you, gentlemen. This has been AFC South show number 63. Be sure to tune in next week Be sure to tune into the next episode. We'll be joined by Drew Doherty of Texans TV as we'll be breaking down week 6. Be good people.